The MP's opposition to assisted dying bill grows amid criticism of a lack of debate. I'm going to read into this more from The Guardian, you guys. Let's go. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is Reganelite here with an article from The Guardian with the headline that MP's opposition to the assisted dying bill is growing amid criticism out of a lack of debate. So the chair of the parliamentary group against assisting dying says she has been meeting dozens of undecided MPs. Guys, while you're here, make sure you hit the like button and share it across social media so others are notified of this video. Now, this is obviously a cause for concern, and while I'm in favour of the assisting dying bill, what I'm also very important is that there is a proper debate, and there's a proper debate and having proper discussions about assisting dying. And this looks like, from based on what I've read here and what I've heard elsewhere, there has been a very lack of debate on this. Hence the title. Where if there's not going to be a debate on this, and they're going to try and push this through, then I'm in favour of holding it off until there is a proper debate on this. Now, I know that the House of Commons, the House of Parliament's debates times, and there's a lot of obviously bills and a lot of discussions about many other things that obviously are taking place right now, and I totally understand that. But how are they not fitting in the assisting dying bill? And this was something that even the Prime Minister Sir Keir Starmer at one point was asked about, and I remember him even saying specifically that he would allow a free vote on the bill as well, because that's how he felt about that, because of how extremely sensitive it is. Even though some other people have claimed that he would whip them against it or whip them for it. When if you can find me video footage of him saying that, then please feel free to show me that. But I'm pretty certain that's what he said before. But either way, this is obviously a very extremely sensitive topic. The majority of people that I've heard from, especially from the last time I talked about assisting dying bill, from those in the comments, are in favour of assisting dying, are in favour of obviously there's a feeling about the being able to have to pay to go out to Switzerland or another country that has that in order for them to be able to terminate their life, of course. But there is also that worry about obviously taking advantage of elderly people, which is one of the biggest oppositions to the assisting dying bill, is that they feel that some people may be taken advantage of because perhaps that somebody who is older, who is not maybe very well and whatnot, but isn't on the deathbed yet, but is close on the deathbed. Now, I've always said that there needs to be first and foremost, anyone who wants to be on the assisting dying has to be terminally ill. There needs to be like concrete assurances of these. That there needs to be that this person is definitely dying, that he cannot be saved, and there's no other way around it. Yeah, that's the first and foremost thing. The second thing is obviously, if you cannot you need the consensus of that person to be able to do so, and that person has to be doing it willingly, of course. And the other thing is obviously if that person is in a vegetative state and they are going to die, obviously that's a much more complex issue, because obviously that person cannot make that conscious decision of whether they want their life support to be turned off or not. Then there's the question about, is it right that the married partner or the closest family of that can make that decision for them to turn off their life support? Not an easy decision. Very difficult one, especially if that person is terminal and we don't know how long that person's life got left. Not an easy. So that's a complexity as well. So that's a very difficult thing to make. For me, it's about the thing that puts me more in favour of it is when those who are being forced against their will not to be able to end their own life willingly, knowing that they are going to die, knowing that they cannot be saved. It's that favours it more. But I generally believe there should be the strongest of barriers put in front of people to enable, if they want to be able to die, to have assist, to be willing to die. It needs to be the strongest barriers put in place to ensure that this is completely done and willingly. And I get the morality of this. I completely and totally understand the oppositions to this, which is why I think it's absolutely insane there's been a lack of debate on this. And if there has been a lack of debate on this, they should not be pushing this bill through until there is a proper debate on it. So let's read into this, you guys. So opposition to the assisting dying bill is growing in Parliament after interventions of the Health and Justice Secretaries calls for caution and the backlash among new MPs who are angered by the speed of the legislation. So Rachael Maskell, a former Labour shadow minister who chairs the Dying, all party parliamentary group against assisting Dying, told The Guardian that she and others have been meeting dozens of undecided MPs in the hope to persuade them to vote down the bill and push for a wide-ranging commission that would explore better palatable care. The Guardian understands that there is a particular anger among new Labour MPs at the speed of the bill. The House of Commons will vote on the private members' bill led by MP Kim Leadbeater in 5 weeks' time, and there is a growing concern that the full details of the legislation are yet to be published. So first of all, there's not been a debate, and secondly, you haven't even the details of it isn't out yet, and they're supposed to, in 5 weeks' time. Oh. Okay. Keir Starmer is known to be a keen supporter of the proposed change, but has said there will be a free vote for MPs. Yeah, I thought so. Yeah, some I know there are some proper Labour haters there, but I definitely heard in a video he said that there would be a free vote for MPs. A number of senior politicians have expressed opposition to the bill in recent days. One key factor in the debate among MPs has been the decision of the Health Secretary Wes Streeting and the Justice Secretary Shabina Mahmood, who said he will vote against the bill. Among these who are deeply torn is there a strong feeling that the vote should not take place until government can show significant improvements to the state of the NHS or risk sending a dangerous message. There's also grave doubts about the process of the private members' bill. With just 2 Fridays to debate it, several stress, however, that they did not blame Leadbeater. Maskell, who was part of the 14-month inquiry who assisting dying while she was on the Commons Health Select Committee, said there were still key outstanding issues. She claimed there would be little time to press for clarity on issues such as whether doctors would have to opt out or opt in to carry out the process to end their life. Why is there not clarity on that? There should be a choice that if the doctor wants to do it or not, there should be that option for them. It shouldn't be done against their will. If a doctor is told they have to do this and they don't want to do this, why is there not an option in place? That should be a very simple one. Yes, give doctors a choice on that. I think that should be a debate. It's a very detailed, involved, complex areas of healthcare, and it's got to be treated with that gravity, I think. I don't just get the sense that the 5-hour parliamentary debate will even touch that, she said. Maskell said MPs pushing for a government to instead announce a commission on palliative care as a way to address many of the horror stories that have been raised as a reason to back assisting dying for those terminally ill and in great pain and distress. Maskell said she and both of her former colleagues on the Select Committee who remained in Parliament, Dr. Caroline Johnson and Pauline Hamilton, were against the bill. We're the ones that have the kind of really lived and breathed this for a significant amount of time, she said. Maskell, who is a religious Christian, denied that faith was the key factor for many oppressed. Not buying that for 1 second. Saying there are many atheist MPs who are opposed and motivated by a human rights and equalities perspective. Yeah, people, but it should be people's choices as well. As soon as they said it was a religious Christian, there is absolutely no question religion is playing in that role of being opposed to it. Both West and Shabina are 2 cabinet members that have the responsibility for implementing this, and when they dug into the issues, they expressed a concern, Maskell said, they really should be listened to. She said there was very little time for opponents to make their case. The second reading on the 29th of November is really the day to defeat the bill, and to say that we don't have to do this in the first 6 months of a Labour government isn't the only vehicle in town. We can do something else. Streeting told MPs he had been persuaded because of the poor state of palatable care, despite having voted for assisting dying the last time around. And Jonathan Reynolds, also been his secretary, is also previously a member of the APPG, against assisting dying. The other cabinet ministers have said they are in favour, including the Work and Pension Secretary Liz Kendall and the Culture Secretary Lisa Andy. Among Conservative MPs, the issue is split down the middle. I think it's very much a case of core numbers of religious ones who are against it, and core number of people for a personal or constituency experience are very strongly in favour. And then a number who are very torn, one Conservative said. But I think there's a growing feeling of this is the right way to do this. So Ed Davey, sorry, I don't know why I said Ed Davies, the Liberal Democrat leader who has a disabled son and whose wife has MS, has said he will vote against the bill. Cabinet ministers are not expected to campaign on the issue. Earlier this month, the Cabinet Secretary Simon Case wrote to ministers to say they should exercise discretion and should not take part in a public debate. Starmer's support has been very influential for a number of MPs. However, there are others in all the parties who are passionate supporters of the legal change, backed by 3/4 of the public, according to some polls. In a survey published earlier this month, just over half of those who responded backed legislation in the case of terminal illness. Eskar Raskin, the celebrity backer of the assisted dying law change, to whom Starmer promised he would hold a vote on the issue, wrote to Streeting later this week to say she was deeply disappointed in his decision and accused him of ignoring his government's request to stay neutral. She told the Express that Streeting should know that even the palpable care cannot always protect patients from dying in agony, and their families want and doctors watching helplessly. Maskell, a former psychotherapist, physiotherapist, said taking part in the Health and Social Care Select Committee inquiry into assisted dying has left her extremely concerned about the procedure. She said there was a significant number of her colleagues who remain undecided. We haven't even seen the bill yet, and we have 5 weeks and such a 5 and then a 5-hour debate. It feels like the process isn't right for dealing with such a sensitive, challenging subject and complex subject, she said. The bill should be available earlier before this, I think. In the context of broken NHS, we know that social care is so fragmented and it's not just functioning and massively under-resourced. Local authorities are climbing all around their finances, and we know that palpable care and the hospital services have been crying out for years about their underfunding. Maskell said many MPs, that there was widespread support among the constituencies for the change, and for those MPs who had their own doubts need to explain an alternative to voting for the bill. You've got to think about the end of life in a very different way if we're going to give people the very best of care, she said. There's been so many people who are feeling they are having to grab the first thing that comes along. I just think the lobby has been very successful and persuasive in trying to advance their agenda. Maskell has said she has been having one-to-one discussions with MPs but who were undecided. I wouldn't say it's certainly not the majority in favour yet, but the problem is that we don't have adequate response currently given to the constituencies to say, I don't want to have to do this right now, but I want to get palpable care right. Here's the thing. Here's a serious question I have for people in the comments. Do you think a 5-hour debate on this is enough for MPs after everything that they've gone through? And the bill, as of right now, has not been published, and it's supposed to be in 5 weeks' time that they vote on it. And they haven't seen any details of the bill yet. That's very concerning. I think the bill should be... I think maybe 5 hours is not enough on the debate, maybe like this. Maybe. It depends how many people turn up for it as well. I do think, there should be a big house. I do hope that most MPs do turn up for such a debate like that. We're talking about people's right to be able to die and being able to have a dignified death as well. One that they should be able to choose, or whether they are unable to choose, can someone on behalf of somebody do it for them as well? And are there the safeguards? The key word that I've talked about in the last video on this is about the safeguards, ensuring the safeguards are in place for that person. And it is a very difficult decision. It's not as simple as 1, 2, 3. But there may be a case that in this as well, is that there are some people who really are vehemently against any kind of assisted dying, and maybe just trying to look at cracks in this as well. That is highly impossible the case as well. But at the moment, I would like to see the bill maybe a bit earlier. But obviously, things have to run their course. But I completely understand the concerns about undecided MPs on this matter, and I would completely understand if people were to come in the comments and be undecided on this too. What do you guys honestly think? I'm still personally in favour of the assisted dying, me personally, as long as there are the safeguards in place, and this is the key thing. But what do you guys honestly think about assisted dying? Do you think it should not happen? Do you think there's not enough consultation on this? Do you think the committees and those who have spoken about it is not? Do you think that perhaps the bill should be made public much earlier and sooner so people can know exactly where they stand on this bill, and whether you would support it or oppose it, and whether you want to pressure your MP to be for it or oppose it? Let me know your thoughts and more down in the comments section below. If you found this video informative, please hit the like button. We greatly appreciate it. Share this across social media so others are notified of this video. If you haven't subscribed already, please consider subscribing, because it really does help support the channel. And if you want to go one step further and financially support me and the work that I do here, you can do so by becoming a YouTube member for as little as 99p, or you can join me on Rumble or Patreon for exclusive content on those platforms. So thank you all so much for watching, and I hope to catch you all very, very soon.